Hi guys, it is a beautiful fall morning out here. It's about 50 degrees. There's no humidity, not a cloud in sight. There's a gentle breeze with a little bit of crispness. It is the perfect fall day and I love this time of year. All of the trees have started to put on their fall show. We've got reds and oranges and yellows. They're dropping their leaves. The area that we mulched in the backyard a few days ago, it is now covered with gold leaves and it looks so pretty, and I don't even want to pick them up right now because I just love all the color on the ground and the trees everywhere. And this is the perfect weather that I can get a whole bunch of stuff done, because when it's like the dead of summer, it's 100 degrees here and we have intense humidity, upwards of like 95% humidity. So it is literally like walking out into a sauna and trying to get work done. And you just can't, because you can just stand there for a few minutes and you're already starting to overheat. But this weather, this is where I thrive. It is the perfect weather to be out in the garden doing things, and that's what we're going to be doing today. It's the perfect weather for planting, and that is what we're doing today. So a couple weeks ago, we removed all the sod, or part of the sod, in the front yard and everything in the back behind the swale. And then we came in about a week ago and mulched and landscaped the backyard. So now we are going to be planting up the front yard, specifically the front porch area, and we're going to be putting in a brand new boxwood hedge. And I have been looking forward to this for weeks, and I'm so excited because we're doing it today. So when we removed the sod, we took a 2-foot wide section that runs along the front porch walkway and removed all of that sod and curved it all the way around to the side gate where the vegetable garden is. And then from the side gate forward, we removed a larger section of sod and kind of created a new bed. But we're going to be working in that front section along the walkway, that 2-foot wide strip, and we're going to be planting that up. So let's go out front and I'll show you what I'm talking about, what we're going to be planting, and then we'll just jump right into it. So this is the 2-foot wide section of sod that we removed. It runs right along the walkway of the front porch, and then it curves around the front bed and meets right at the end of the brick wall. And as you can see, we are planting boxwoods today, and I am so excited. Let's walk the walkway so we can see what it looks like from the other side. Oh, I'm so excited, you guys. Look, it's like a little pathway. And then the hedge just goes all the way around and meets the white brick wall right there. And we'll walk the other side now so you guys can see the curve as we get down towards the end over here. Here's where it starts to curve. And there is where it's going to line up, right there. So let's talk about boxwoods for a minute, because there's so many different varieties. They grow in all different shapes and sizes. I chose the Green Velvet Boxwood for the front area here because I do have experience with them. I've got these planted on the north side of our house, on the opposite side of where the arborvitae hedge is. They've been in the ground for about 4 years now, and they're doing beautifully. And I like the compact size of the Green Velvet Boxwood. Now, I have seen stats ranging from 2 to 4 feet tall and wide, and with my experience so far, I would say they're more on the 2x2 side, 2 feet tall, 2 feet wide. And what I like about them, aside from their compact size, is they stay green. They've got a deep green to them, and they hold that color throughout the winter, because there's some varieties that tend to bronze up a little bit more in the winter, and I don't really want that look. Especially in the front yard area. Now, some of them do have it, but they are a little stressed in their cans right now, so that's okay. But it also depends, so choosing the right variety also depends on the space that you're planting and what you're going for. If you wanted something a little bit taller and more of like a cone shape, I would say go with the Green Mountain Boxwoods. They get anywhere from 4 to 5 feet tall and wide, but they grow more in a conical or a pyramid, or more like a cone shape. You know, so it really just depends on what area you're planting and what look you're going for. And really, they're just a great all-around plant, you know, or shrub. I've never had any issues with them. I know that there's some boxwood blight thing going around in some areas. I haven't experienced that yet, thankfully. But they do also have new varieties that they're coming out with that are supposed to be more resistant to them. I think it's the new gen boxwood that's more resistant to the boxwood blight. But for me, even if some of these were to succumb to blight, I would just pull them out and replace them because they're so readily available. You can find, especially like some varieties like Green Velvet, Green Mountain, and Winter Gem, you can find them in big box stores, you can find them in nurseries, and they're very affordable. So if you do happen to lose a couple, you can just pop them out and replace them with new ones. And so that's why I chose Boxwood, and that's why I chose the Green Velvets. I love the Green Velvets. I like that they stay compact, they stay green, and they're just so easy to maintain. As far as soil goes, Boxwoods prefer a neutral pH, anywhere from 6 to 7.5, and they'll be very happy. They also like soil that's rich in organic matter. So if you have clay soil like I do, I would recommend amending the soil with a 50-50 ratio of native soil and compost. Mix them together and just backfill with that. That will actually help with drainage as well because they also like well-draining soil. They don't like to sit in wet soil. They don't want wet feet because they will rot if they don't have a chance to dry out, because once they're established, they're pretty drought tolerant, and I've gone weeks without watering before and they are just happy as can be. Another great reason I love boxwoods is because they can handle so many different light conditions, full sun, part shade. They may struggle a little bit in full-on shade. If they're not getting any sun, they'll probably get a little bit leggy and lanky because everything does need a little bit of sun to survive. But in varying light conditions like I have in the front porch where parts of it get full sun, parts of it get part shade, and in the afternoon, most of it gets full sun, they all look the same. They don't change colors or they don't get weird in shade conditions as opposed to full sun conditions. So that's why I like them. They're just such a great plant or shrub to just put anywhere, and they're also deer resistant. So this is great because we do have deer, and I've seen a lot more deer in our garden this year than in recent years. And because this is in the front yard, there's really no protection. So if I were to plant something else that the deer liked, I mean, why bother? They're just going to mow it down. So boxwoods, perfect choice. So let's start on this side of the hedge and we'll make our way all the way around to the end. So this first section of plants right here in the Proven Winners containers, these are not Proven Winners plants. They were actually transplanted from this bed right here. When we decided to redo this whole bed, I pulled them all out, put them in these containers, and they've been wintering over since last season. These two right in here, these are 5-gallon containers. And then as we make our way along the hedge, the sizes right in the middle start to drop because I couldn't get my hands on any more 3 gallons. So we drop right here to 2 gallons. And then right as we make the curve, we go down to 1-gallon containers. So you can definitely see between all 3 of them, the size difference. Like, let me grab this 1 gallon, I'll put it next to a 2 gallon so you can see the difference. And then I'll take this and put it next to the 3 gallon. And that's quite a difference. So either way, it'll be fine. I'm not too worried about the size difference because eventually they're all just going to blend together and you won't even be able to tell. And for a project of this scale, I am going to be using the augers. I've got the 9-inch and the 7-inch ready to go, but there's one section that I have to hand dig. The area right along this curve right here, this is the section where I'm probably going to have to dig 4 holes manually because we've got the 2 downspouts that are buried underground. They come this way and then they meet somewhere, and then they kind of just trail right over here into the center and work their way towards the front. But I came out here earlier and dug so I could find where these downspouts were. And this one, right along the front porch here, is buried underground, and it comes right here to where actually, there it is. And I actually had the boxwood right over it, so I had to move this over a little bit, but I don't care, that's fine. It's only a couple inches, but you can see how close I am to the edge of the pipe. So this one is gonna be hand dug. Same with these two over here, because we've got another downspout right here, and you can see it just kind of comes right along there. As far as spacing goes, I use the center of the trunk as my starting point, and each plant is 16 inches apart from trunk to trunk, with the exception of the 2 or 3 by the downspouts. Those I had to fudge a little bit more, so they're 18 inches apart. But once this whole hedge grows in, you won't be able to tell. The one thing you want to be mindful of is making sure they're in a straight line. So I did measure, because we're working in a 2-foot wide section, dead center is 12 inches from end to end or side to side. So each plant is 12 inches from the center of that width. So yeah, I think we're ready to go. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna gather my supplies. We'll come back out front. I will plant one of them with you and show you step by step how I'm gonna do it. And then we'll just dive right into this whole thing. And then in the end, I'll come back around and show you how it all looks. I'm so excited. All right, let's get our stuff and get planting. Here's everything that we're gonna be using today. I've got the 9-inch auger hooked up. Here's our 7-inch auger. I've got my pruners just in case, gloves, hand trowel for the few holes that we have to dig, starter fertilizer, compost, a rake, and our blower, because I'm sure I'm gonna kick up a bunch of dirt along the walkway and in the grass, and a kneeling pad as well. All right, let's make our way to the front. Oh, real quick. So this boxwood hedge is about 4 years old. These are Green Velvet Boxwoods. These are spaced 24 inches apart from trunk to trunk, and you can see even after a few years, they're still not touching. So that's why I opted to go a little bit closer in the front, because I want more of a hedge quickly. But these just look so good, and they stay this color all season long, and they're just so low maintenance. We had a heat wave this summer. I watered them one time. Aren't they amazing? They just look so good. Also, Shuey's got a little friend over for the weekend. Say hi, Mason. Say hi, Shishu. He's with us for the weekend. Look at these two. They're so cute. And they get along really well. Oh my. A dog just passed by. So I'm going to show you on the first one how I'm going to plant all these. Then we'll jump in, get them all planted, and then I'll come back around and give you guys a tour of it all. But first I wanted to show you a couple of these boxwoods that are a little lighter in color, and it's only because they've been in their containers for too long and they're a little stressed and root bound. So you can see the difference in color between these two. This one is looking a little bit more chartreusey, probably needs a little bit of fertilizer, which we're going to be giving it some starter fertilizer. But it is a little bit root bound. Let me show you. And just take it out of its container. Look at that. That's pretty intense. So, slug. Gross. Anyway, so once these get in the ground and have a chance to stretch their roots, they'll color up again. So we're going to start with the 9-inch auger, and we're going to aug our hole. Next, I'm going to check the depth of the hole. Make sure we're not too low. You can see where the soil level is. Make it so you guys can see it. That's actually a little too low. I'm going to plant it like an inch higher than the soil line. I'm going to add some of our compost. Along with our starter fertilizer. Some of the native soil and just mix it all in. Now we will take our boxwood, get it positioned in the hole, make sure it's facing the way that we want to, and that it's center 12 inches from this end, 12 inches from this end. Okay, let's measure. Should be 12 inches. Perfect. Okay, so now we just backfill. Make sure to pack it in. Try and get as many air pockets out as you can. Make sure it's straight. And I planted it purposely a little bit higher because that will facilitate drainage away from the trunk, because if we have it lower than the soil line, water is going to flow in and rot the shrub out. And then once we have them all planted, we'll come back around, water them in, and mulch them up. And that's how it's going to look. Oh, doesn't that look so good? All right, guys, only 35 more to go. Really? All right, guys, so the battery on the drill died, so I put it back on the charger. So while it's charging, I'm gonna go in and plant all of the plants that I dug holes for. But I don't know if I ever mentioned this to you guys or not, but there used to be a different style patio over here back in like the 80s. And when they tore it down, I don't think they tore all of it down. So as I was auging all the holes, I had no problem until I came up to this hole right here. And if I get in here a little bit closer, look at that. This looks like part of the foundation to the previous patio that was here. And it's running right along the edge of the container line, right to the edge of the patio. So back in the day, this patio used to come out from the front door, step down, and then this whole thing was one giant block of concrete, and then it came down to right where the foundation line is that I just showed you. It had wrought iron railing all the way down, and right where this pillar is, we had a 3-step walkway that led to right here. So it was like one giant patio actually, but when they tore it down, I don't think they went too deep into the foundation because I just hit it with my auger. So let me tell you, auging these holes right here, that was quite a challenge. So I'm probably going to have to finagle the root balls a little bit and maybe just take some of the bottom roots off and maneuver them in here because I was scraping concrete. But I was able to dig the holes all the way up until just before the downspout. So this is where the auger died, or the drill. So we've got all of these to plant. So while the battery's charging, I'm going to be planting. All right guys, so I just want to give you a quick update. I'm a little more than halfway done, but I got hung up right on the front porch area because there's that concrete or cinder block foundation from the previous porch. So I couldn't get the auger completely in there. So I've had to use my hand trowel and just kind of maneuver the holes around a little bit more just to get the root balls in there. And I have been taking the root balls down in size, scraping a little bit more than normal soil off of them just to get them to fit and align evenly with everything else. So I'm finished with that area, thank goodness, and the battery is charged in the drill so we can use the auger again. So I'm going to finish planting all of the holes that I dug, then I'll dig the rest and get everything else planted. And I still have a few, 2 or 3 or 4 holes to dig by hand over by the downspouts where the drains are. So we're just going to jump back into this and get it all done. All right guys, I just want to give you another update. I've got 10 more boxwoods left to plant, and I'm going to switch over to the 7-inch auger now because I'm at the second drain or downspout, and I think if I use the 7-inch auger, I can aug the holes in between the downspout, and I won't have to hand dig them. So let's give it a whirl. See, this is where the downspout is, and I've got a 1-gallon container here and a 1-gallon container here. So I think I've got just a couple inches, a few inches to get the auger in there. So we're gonna give it a try. And if you guys can hear all that noise, we've got a few landscaping companies on our street just going to town. All right guys, let me show you how easy it is to change the auger. Just gonna take our little key, unscrew the auger from the drill, pop off the 9-inch, grab the 7-inch, pop it on, grab our key, tighten it up. Put our key back. Good to go. Hi guys, so it's the next morning. The boxwood planting project took a little bit longer than I anticipated because I ran into a couple little snafus that I had to maneuver and work around, which I'll show you and explain when we do the final walkthrough. But I wanted to come out this morning and get a nice little layer of topsoil and mulch over the entire area, and then walk you guys around and just show you a freshly mulched hedge and bed. All right guys, our boxwood hedge / mulching projects are done. It looks so good. I can't wait to show it to you guys. Let's go. So we'll start right in the front where we did a lot of our grading and mulching, and oh my gosh, you guys. Oh, it looks so good. I have been wanting to get this front section mulched and, you know, a little bit of topsoil underneath since we started this project, but specifically because I wanted to put a little bit of topsoil and mulch right around this like grade right here where it kind of slopes down. Let me show you so you can see. You can see it kind of just goes down a little bit, but I wanted to get this locked in with topsoil and mulch so when we do get rain, the clay soil doesn't just bead with the water and then we end up with like a red muddy river. So I'm glad I was able to get this all placed, installed, locked in, watered in. So hopefully when we get rains, the mulch and the topsoil will adhere together kind of like a little bonding agent and everything will stay in place. So, so good. And then if we kind of walk around along the edge, you can see how it goes right to the back, right onto the side gate. And then our Boxwood Hedge starts. And oh my gosh, you guys, I love this. Now, some of these boxwoods may look a little more chartreusey and yellow. They're just a little stressed. They've been in their cans for too long, so they will settle down this season, and by next season, next spring, they should start flushing out more green. But all in all, they're just gonna be so, so happy here. Mason and Shuey are coming to check everything out. Hi, boys. Hi, guys. You want to say hi to everybody? So the boxwoods are spaced roughly 16 inches apart and 12 inches from the brick wall all the way around until we get to that curve. And then right around here, this is where we had the 2 downspouts. So I had to manually dig each hole. So some of these are a little closer, probably like 14 inches. Some of them maybe like 17 inches apart. But once these grow together, you're not going to be able to tell. As long as everything is straight, 12 inches from the edge right there, it should be fine. And then gradually we get bigger and bigger since our boxwoods were bigger. They were in bigger cans. And then right here, this section right here and the front porch, this is the section that kind of took me by surprise yesterday. And that's what ended up taking like so long. So what happened, just to give you guys a quick update. So what happened was, initially, this was a giant like patio porch, and it came right along the edge of the boxwoods here. It had a brick front, it was like wrought iron railings, and it literally came from this step, and it was just a straight patio to here, and then it just went down. When my parents decided to remove it because it was falling apart, so otherwise I would have loved for it to be here. However, when they moved it, they didn't go all the way down and remove the cinder block and the concrete. So when I took the auger and was auging, I heard like chipping, and I thought, okay, we've got rocks in here, and it started kicking up, the auger started kicking up brick and then chunks of concrete. So I was like, okay, this is not normal. So I dug in and I saw that there was the foundation wall for the patio that ran right along here. So I kind of sort of had to bump everything out just like a ½ an inch. And then I just kind of manipulated the root balls for 5 of these so I could get them as close to that foundation wall with a little bit of soil in between as I could, because I wanted to keep this whole hedge straight. But I was not anticipating that. So that's what ate up so much of my time yesterday. And then we finish off with the rest of the hedge. So if we walk it from the lawn side, it just looks so nice to have just a little green hedge right in the front. And these will grow 2 feet tall by 2 feet wide. At least for me, they do. I know some tags say 2 to 3 feet, but I don't have that experience with them, and I've had some installed for like 4 years, and they're still just under 2 feet. But I am just so glad that we were able to get this installed. Let's walk the pathway. Oh, it looks so good. And the other way. And to give you a quick recap on how I planted them, once I auged all the holes, I added in some compost to the native soil to about a 50-50 ratio, threw in some biotone starter fertilizer, then positioned each plant in the hole the way that I wanted it to be facing, measured each plant to make sure they were centered and the exact distance from each other, and then backfilled, making sure to pack the soil in so we eliminate any air pockets, mulched them, watered them all in, and they look gorgeous. And also, quick tip, I always plant everything that I plant here, I always plant it at least an inch above the soil line. That way, when we water or when it rains, water flows away from the center of the trunk of the plant and we avoid too much moisture and eventually rotting and killing the shrub. So just a little quick tip. Anyways, guys, I am so happy that these projects are done. I have been looking forward to getting this boxwood hedge installed, and it's here, and I'm just so happy. And now we move on to the next project. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you in the next one. Have a great day. Bye.